Welcome again to Meet the Market Leader TV show, and today we are going to interview one of the top CEO in Tanzania, and she's in the banking sector. Actually, she's leading one of the largest bank in Tanzania, is in top 3 banks in Tanzania, and her name actually is Ineke Bussemaker, and she is a CEO of NMB. So let's keep in touch, and then we're going to reveal all this. Thanks.
Meet the Market Leader, proudly sponsored by.
So welcome Ineke to our session, Meet the Market Leader.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. As I told my viewer before, I want to know from your side, where did you start until become a CEO of a big company, one of the top 3 banks in Tanzania? Yeah. Tell us.
I started my career in banking more than 30 years ago. So I have been a banker all those years in different countries.
Okay.
I am Dutch, so I started in Holland, in the Netherlands.
Yes.
And I worked for 2 banks there, ABN AMRO Bank, which is a Dutch bank,
yes,
and Citibank, which is a very international bank.
Okay.
And then my career at Citibank took me from the Netherlands to Denmark, where I was the country manager for Citibank in Denmark. And then to London, where I worked for Citibank, and that was in the time when the internet was really becoming part of banking. Okay. So I was head of the e-solutions business for Western Europe. And then I worked for Citibank some more in London and a little bit in Ireland.
Okay.
And then we decided that after 10 years outside the Netherlands, we wanted to go back. So I moved back to the Netherlands, worked for Rabobank in the Netherlands. I was head of their payments business. And then from Rabobank, I came to NMB, and the reason that was Rabobank is a larger shareholder in NMB.
Okay.
So Rabobank actually has a contract with NMB that they propose senior managers to work at NMB. So from Rabobank, I was proposed to the board of NMB to become the CEO, and here I am.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So I want to know from your side, what are the main goals at NMB Bank, Tanzania?
NMB is one of the top 3 banks, as you said.
Yes.
And we still feel that there is a lot of potential and a lot of growth potential in Tanzania. Going forward, slightly different from what it has been until now, because we have all this great new digital technology.
Yes, yes.
Until now, we've been a bank with 180 branches around the country, and mostly the branches have been the core of our banking business.
Yes, yes.
But we also have mobile banking.
Yes.
So out of our more than 2 million customers, actually 1 million use NMB mobile.
Oh.
So they already do a lot of transactions using mobile banking, NMB account and NMB mobile.
Yes.
And we see that the major area for growth is in the digital space.
Okay.
So we will see that we can reach many more customers. I mean, Tanzania is a big country, more than 50 million people. And out of that, high number of 50 million, less than 10 million people, probably even less than that, actually have a bank account.
Yes.
And we are looking for financial inclusion in Tanzania.
Okay.
Not just we, I think also the government and all the other banks. And we believe that we can reach many more people with mobile money and mobile bank accounts than with physical branch banking. And you need a combination. Because at one point in time, people want cash or cash in and cash out from their bank account. So they need to have a place to go, ATMs, but also wakalas. But we will see a change in the way people pay and receive money. Today, it's almost only cash. I think going forward, it's going to be much more digital and mobile. Whether it's using mobile wallets or mobile access to your bank account, or actually the card. Because the ATM card today you can use to get money from your ATM. But going forward, you can use that card much more to also pay when you go to shops.
Okay, so we are
or
going
to
to
restaurants.
have a cashless society.
I believe ultimately we will have a cashless, or in the short run, a less cash society.
Okay.
Absolutely, that's the way we're going.
Okay, so I want to know from your side. So, what sector of the economy NMB now is focused? Because recently I heard that you have agribusiness, so you have already committed yourself with 500 billion to agriculture sector. So I want to know from your side.
Yeah.
Which are the sector of the economy now we are focused? This is our focus.
Focus, yeah. Well, we've been a general retail bank, so we've always been actually both focusing on consumers, salary
Yes.
workers loans, but we're national microfinance bank, right? So
Yes.
we've also looked at micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises,
Yes.
and the agri sector, and we do have some business with the large companies. But our growth area will be the micro and SME and the agri sector.
Yes.
We always were in agri, but a year ago we relooked at our strategy and we said, well, this country, 70% of the economy is basically people who are working in the agri sector.
Yes, sure.
And a lot of people are dependent on the agri sector for their daily income. So it is the sector which has a lot of potential.
Yes.
And we want to support, the growth of that agri sector in Tanzania. So that's why we said we'll look at it differently from before. We're looking at more crops than before that we were supporting.
Yes.
We're looking across the value chain. It's not only the smallholders, but it's really the mid-size and the larger farms and the infrastructure that needs to develop. And then the smallholders will benefit from the infrastructure and the larger farms that are developing. So that's what we're focusing on. And the 500 billion is, we currently have a much smaller amount of disbursements on an annual basis.
Yes.
But we want to grow that to 500 billion in the next 5 years.
Wow, that's great. So that's good news. But a few years ago, I think, we have an entry of mobile money in the economy of Tanzania.
Yeah.
So now they provide the same service that banking they provide, and not only that, they provide some service which banking sector they ignore it for a long time, like lending money without collateral security. So don't you think this is a new threat to our financial sector?
I think they work together.
Yes.
By mobile money and mobile wallets, a lot more people have access to money, basically, a mobile account.
Yes.
And banks were never able to reach those large numbers of people because of the branches and the brick and mortar, and also because the strict rules and regulations that apply to banking and that are less strict to the mobile money. So I don't think it's a threat. I think it's great that the country has been able to reach a lot more people, up to probably about 30 or more million people in the country have been reached by the mobile network operators with the wallet, and it was never, even possible for the banks to reach that. Okay. But I think going forward, you will see also the banks and the mobile operators working together, because there's a big integration between the two. Like, people get their salary on a bank account, and then part of that salary goes into the mobile wallet. But when it's in the wallet and they need to do some payments from the bank account or whatever, it goes from the mobile wallet back to the bank account. So as long as you are interoperable between the banks and the mobile wallets, I think jointly you can help grow and grow financial inclusion, basically.
About financial inclusion.
Yeah.
I want to know, we have more than 52 or 53 million people here in Tanzania. Yeah. And most of them, about 40 million, they don't have a bank account at all. But the one that they have a bank account, they lack exposure, financial exposure. They are illiterate, most of them, in the financial sector. So what actually NMB they are doing to help sort out this problem, and how far have you reached so far?
Well, we've recently launched a number of new products to reach people who until now did not have a bank account. We've introduced what we call the Pamoja account, which is a particular account which we have developed actually with an NGO called CARE, which is a product for village savings and loans, where people, rather than putting cash money in a box and counting the money and taking it out, now actually put mobile money on a bank account. So they can actually also see what the balance is without having to, count the money. And rather than having two people with a key to the box, you have two digital keys to the bank account. So a group in a village and savings and loans can now actually do all of that on a, as we call it, Pamoja account at NMB.
Okay.
So that's one thing. The other product that we launched actually just 2 weeks ago is a youth savings proposition, which is youth accounts coupled with financial literacy training.
Okay.
So we have developed, we call it the Wajibu concept. So we have 3 accounts. One is a Matoto account for basically for children. When the day they're born, you would hope that their parents open an account for them and start saving a little bit of money, so that by the time the child is 18-year-old and wants to get a college education, there's money in that account to support a life, a college education. And then we also have an account, and that is new, that did not exist before in Tanzania, is for the children who are secondary school between 13 and 17 to have their own bank account, a transaction account. So, and we combine that with training at the schools. So the people of our 180 branches of NMB will actually, they're all trained to go to schools and to talk to the students and to the parents and to give them financial literacy training.
That's great strategy that you have. I believe that after a few years, I think you're going to sort out this problem. But I want to know, now we are in the digital era, and Africa now is embracing digital, especially from the South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, and other countries. They are full in a digital era. And in Tanzania, we are still, like in initial stage of digital era, and I see digital era become normal in the financial sector here in Tanzania.
Oh, it is already,
And it's contributing a lot of percentage in GDP, actually, gross domestic product, like up to 6.4, 6.5, sometime area like So I want to know from your side, how far NMB is embracing this digital era, and in terms of solving interact with client problems, and interact with client day to day. And also I want to know from you, in Tanzania we don't have, most of banks they don't use cloud computing as a core business system, which in most of the countries I see it's much cheaper compared to the current system they are using, which is we call it traditional system. So how far, what is your advice about this? And yes,
everything we do is digital banking, actually, because when a customer has a bank account and they have an ATM card and they go to the ATM card to get money, that's a digital way of processing a transaction. And out of our 2 million customers, more than 1 million actually use NMB mobile. So they have access on the mobile phone to their bank account. They can see what the balance is, and more importantly, they can do a lot of payments. So personally, I pay my Luku, I pay my Dawasco, I buy my FastJet tickets. All of those things I do using NMB mobile. I can top up the darts when I want to travel on the buses in Dar es Salaam. You need a prepaid card to travel, right? You can top up that card from your NMB mobile. As to your question on cloud computing, we're trying one application in the cloud, and it's not yet working to our satisfaction. I think in a number of years, when cloud computing is really developed, it will help us because it will be cheaper. But right now, it's the services offered either come from Europe or from the US.
Yes.
So they're not really yet working to the full capability that we want them to work.
So there is a problem of infrastructure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and timing. It takes a long if you access the cloud, it takes a long time to download your data or your report. Our core banking system is based here in Dar es Salaam, and we support all of our 180 branches. Now, for that, of course, we need a data connection to all of the branches.
Yes.
It works most of the time, but not 100% of the time. Okay. Sometimes some of the data is, or the connections just not there.
Yes. Yes.
Our branches all need to have power.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes we have, and that in Tanzania, big power cuts.
Yes,
if you have a power cut, so you don't have digital data. So, and then you have the generator, but you cannot work on a generator 24 hours a day. So I think we still have some challenges until we really go to cloud computing. I do think cloud computing is the future.
Yes, sure.
But today in Tanzania, I don't think it's ready yet for us to be really using it efficiently.
Okay. So I think few weeks or months ago, I think you celebrate 10 years of...
a year ago already, yeah.
A year already?
Yeah, okay. September last year, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you celebrate 10 years of operating in Tanzania.
Since privatization,
yes. Yeah. And not only that, investors, they're happy because you even give them, 52 billion dividend. They're happy and they smile. So I want to know, what is behind all this success of NMB? And yes.
We had 10 good years. We had 10 years of economic development in Tanzania.
Yes.
And, if the economy develops, the bank has an opportunity to develop.
Yes, yes.
I must say that at privatization in 2005, of course, NMB wasn't the bank that it is today. So a lot of money is invested to make it a modern bank.
Yes.
We've built a lot of products which we didn't have.
Yes.
We've built an IT infrastructure which we didn't have.
Yes.
We have started to introduce ATMs in the country. 10 years ago we did not have ATMs. Today we have 600 ATMs.
Yes.
And we just talked a lot about the mobile and the digital. Internet and mobile hardly was in the country 10 years ago, and today it is. Now we've had a strong balance sheet, and I call strong capital position. Yes. But we've also had a lot of support from one of our big shareholders, which is Rabobank.
Yes.
And whenever we need advice and experts on a data center or a loan portfolio or the loan center or introducing mobile technology and all of that,
expert on
we can call in experts, technical advisors from Rabobank to come and work with us for 1 week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 or 4 months, and help us and share their expert opinion with us.
Okay.
And I think that has helped a lot in building up NMB to where it is today.
We have more than 50 banks operating in Tanzania. Yeah. So I want to know from your side, what is a competitive advantage of NMB over the others bank?
Well, one is we're one of the largest.
Yes.
With a large branch network, the largest in the country.
Yes.
And we've been able to grow into the digital space.
Yes,
which is important. So I think those are all advantages that we have. Having a large network, so we can actually reach a lot of districts and councils and people around the country. Having a strong capital base.
Yes.
Having good people. I mean, a bank is people and technology.
Yeah, sure.
So you need good people and you need good technology. And I think we're very fortunate that we have both. So that's how you become a successful bank.
In the banking industry, we have very few competent people, qualified people. We can say skilled person. We have a shortage of personnel in the banking sector. So I want to know from your side, Ineke, how do you retain the best talent and also recruit the best talent at NMB and keep them, motivating them to stay for a long time? Because I see in the banking sector, most of staff, they are moving from one bank to another here in Tanzania.
Actually, we retain a lot of people. We retain a lot of people at NMB. But you have to, sometimes it's difficult to find staff. So we train our people a lot. Yes. We provide a lot of learning and development to our people.
Yes.
At all levels.
Yes.
We've just hired a group of what we call graduate trainees, so students who just graduated from university, who've joined NMB. It's a group of 30.
Yes.
And those 30 young people will go through a training program of 2 years of working at head office and at various branches, at various departments. Yes. So in 2 years, they will learn a lot about the bank.
Yes.
And then they become a loan officer or a project manager, or they have a job in credit or a job in risk or whatever.
Yes.
So what do? Yes, you find good people, but you also do a lot of training and development.
As part of your expanding strategy, do you have a plan to go to other East African nations? And if yes, which nation you see like this market's much better for NMB to start, and why?
We don't have a plan to go to other countries. We think, and we just talked about it, right?
Yes.
There's more than 50 million people in Tanzania.
Yes.
And today NMB has 2 million customers.
Yes.
So there's so much opportunity for us to grow inside Tanzania.
Yes.
Definitely for the next 5 years.
Yes.
That for the next 5 years we have said no. Our growth opportunity is inside Tanzania. Lots of customers to actually acquire inside Tanzania, and lots of opportunities to grow and to develop the economy in Tanzania. So that's our plan for the next 5 years.
Okay. We have gas and oil discovery in Tanzania. So we are now in the gas and oil economy. So
yes,
what do you see NMB in this sector after 2 years, after 5 years? What do you see, and how are you going to position NMB in this new economy that we have?
Well, we're not going to be a specialist in that area.
Yes.
But we certainly see opportunities. So right now, actually as we speak this week, some of our people are going through a training.
Okay.
In project management and project finance.
Okay.
To understand that particular sector.
Okay.
And see how we can provide, financial services. But it's not like we're going to be the bank for the gas sector. If we're the bank for anything, we're the retail bank, we're the consumer bank, we're the agri bank, we're the bank for small and medium-sized enterprises. And the oil sector is really for the big, is a very, very capital-intensive sector. It's for the real big international companies. So we will play a role, but our focus will really be on other areas.
You're one of the few women actually in the top position in Tanzania. In the banking sector, yes, you are one in the top 3. And in the national, I can say at national level, actually, you are on top also. So, what has challenged as to become a top decision maker as a woman? What has challenged, and what advice do you have to other women on taking this senior position role?
Well, there are challenges, but I'm not sure whether the challenges for a woman are that different than for a man. Definitely there are more challenges, but to get to a top position, it's hard work.
Yes.
It's having ambition.
Yes.
You have to really want it.
Yes.
You have to like what you're doing.
Yes.
And you also have to have a certain confidence that you can do it.
Yes.
So also in NMB, we now have a women's network.
Yes.
And we tell all women in NMB, there's a good career opportunity for you. You can grow in NMB. You can develop yourself. And we really want to develop and retain and grow women in the organization. We're convinced that companies with more balanced gender parity at all levels in the organization, and there's a lot of research that proves it, just are better organizations.
Okay.
When you have men and women more or less 50-50, men will look at issues one way. Okay. Women will look at it another way.
Yeah, sure.
And if you look at issues as challenges together, you will look at it from all angles.
Yes.
And therefore you just make better decisions.
Yes, sure.
So the better companies, the better operating companies are the companies with more diverse teams.
Yes.
And also more diverse management teams, at the top. So that's where we'd like to go. So what do I tell women? Make your choices, make your decisions. Be confident that you can do it.
Yes, sure.
Because a lot of it is confidence building.
Yeah, sure.
And women go to school, get university educations, get college education, and that's a good basis for developing a career.
Start. Yes.
But what women have in Tanzania, but in all countries more, is they have the balance. They sometimes, most of the time, are a mother, they have children,
sure.
So they have to care for the home, and they have their career. But, fortunately, children you don't get on your own. There's most of the time a partner or a husband.
Yeah, sure.
So you need to also have a partner that supports you.
Yeah, sure.
And you have children together, so you need to, sometimes it's the father and sometimes it's the mother.
Yes.
And so you work on it together. It's.
Okay, I know you're very busy, and I want to know, at your free time, what are you doing? And also on top of that, when you come to your office, in the morning, actually, you face a lot of, you are receiving a lot of emails from different people around the world. So, what are the first 200 email you are opening, and why you're opening, and why other you're not opening? I want to know how you structure yourself when you reply to call, reply to SMS, reply to emails. Maybe you have 1,000 email. And what are the 200 email? Are you the first one you're going to answer?
Okay. Well, fortunately, my secretary also reads my emails.
Yes.
So she will read and she'll say, this one's really important and that one's really important. So she will help me. She supports me in deciding what is really important. And then, you quickly scan because you read, where they're from and what the topic is. Yes. And then you pick out the most important ones.
Yes.
And you either open them first and you deal with them quickly.
Yes.
Or I ask my secretary to do something, what is needed. Sometimes, and everyone understands that sometimes I don't react to an email very quickly because I'm in meetings or I have other things that I need to do. Well, then they have to send me an SMS or call.
Yeah. Yes.
Or call my secretary.
Okay.
And if it's really urgent, people can get through to me.
Okay.
What do I do in my free time? Well, I live here together with my husband.
Yes.
We like sailing. We like water sports. So we're members of the yacht club. So we go there.
Okay.
I like to meet friends.
Yes.
But of course, I have a lot of friends and actually 2 children who are in the Netherlands.
Yes.
So we have Skype and WhatsApp.
Yes.
So I call my children in the evening and I use Skype or WhatsApp or my sisters or good friends. So there's a lot of time spent actually keeping up with friendships. I like to read.
Which book are you reading?
Which book? The last book I read was actually a book about a writer who was an English writer.
Okay.
and a book that she wrote, and she became quite famous. But she also had an interesting life. So I read her biography, actually.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate for coming to our show today, and we learned a lot of things from you, and I think our viewers, they are going to benefit as a result of this interview. So thanks for your time.
You're very welcome. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. And this is the end of our Meet the Market Leader TV show program. And until next time, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Meet the Market Leader TV show, and the Facebook page, Meet the Market Leader TV show. Until next time, thanks.
Meet the Market Leader, proudly sponsored by